The warning. The message arrived at the Galactic Assembly headquarters bearing the ancient encryption known only to the Trethians. This was unusual. The Trethian Watchers rarely contacted anyone beyond their isolated homeworld of Trethos Prime. Priority transmission, announced Communications Officer Valnar, her crystalline appendages glowing with excitement. It's from the Trethian High Observer himself. The 7 Assembly representatives exchanged glances as the Grand Chamber with its sweeping arches and view of the 3 moons fell silent. Even Representative Torlak, the oldest among them, had seen only 2 direct communications from the Trethians in his 300-cycle lifetime. "Display it," ordered First Speaker Neva, her iridescent scales catching the soft light of the chamber. The hologram shimmered into existence above the central table. High Observer Call appeared, his ancient face deeply lined, skin nearly translucent with age. A trait of the oldest Trethians. His 4 eyes blinked solemnly. "Respected Assembly," High Observer Call began, his voice resonating with the gravity of his message. "I speak to you today with urgent concern. Our deep space observers have detected a new species in the Orion Spiral. They call themselves humans." The hologram flickered as Kal leaned forward, his eyes focusing intensely. "These humans possess qualities we have seen only once before in our extensive records. They adapt with remarkable speed. They survive conditions that would kill most sentient beings. They overcome obstacles through sheer determination and creativity." Kal paused, his breathing labored. "We have watched them advance from primitive chemical propulsion to rudimentary faster-than-light travel in less than 200 cycles. Such progress is unprecedented." Representative Malkoth snorted, his tentacles twitching with obvious annoyance. Another dramatic prediction from the Watchers. He whispered to Representative Ziv beside him. "How many times have they claimed some backwater species would change everything?" Ziv nodded in agreement. The Avaran representative folded her wings tightly against her body, a sign of dismissal in her culture. "The Trethians haven't left their homeworld in 10,000 cycles," she murmured. "What could they possibly know about these humans or any other emerging species?" High Observer Call continued, seemingly unaware of the Assembly's reactions. "We have analyzed their history. These humans have nearly destroyed themselves multiple times, yet each crisis made them stronger. They turned weapons of mass destruction into power sources. They overcame planet-wide plagues by developing advanced medicine." The hologram displayed images, small, soft-looking bipeds with minimal natural defenses. They seemed unimpressive to the Assembly representatives who represented species with natural armor, enhanced strength, or superior senses. "Most concerning," Kal said, "is their combination of traits. They form strong social bonds like the Lyrians, yet they compete fiercely among themselves like the Vorax. They feel emotions deeply like the empathy, yet they can make coldly logical decisions like the Mechanids. No other known species possesses this full spectrum of seemingly contradictory traits." First Speaker Neva leaned forward. "What do you suggest, High Observer? Should we contact these humans? Contain them?" "Observation," Kal replied firmly. "Careful, distant observation. If they follow the pattern we fear, direct intervention will only accelerate their advancement. When threatened, humans become most dangerous." Representative Dax, the youngest member, laughed openly. "They look so fragile. No claws, no venom, thin skin. How dangerous could they be?" Kal's expression grew grave. "This attitude is precisely why I am concerned. You see their physical limitations but miss their true strength. Their adaptability makes standard predictive models useless. Their creativity makes them unpredictable." "The Trethians have always been cautious to a fault," Malkoth whispered. "They see threats in shadows." The hologram began to break up, the transmission weakening. "We will send detailed reports on human behavior and advancement. Study them carefully," Kal urged. "We have seen this pattern before, in the ancient times. The results were catastrophic." "Thank you for your warning, High Observer," First Speaker Neva said formally. The assembly will consider your advice." As the transmission ended, the representatives began to speak all at once. "Ridiculous. The Trethians live in the past. We have real problems to address." First speaker Neva raised her hand for silence. "The Trethians have earned our respect, if not always our agreement. We will file this warning and assign a low-level observation team to this human planet." The matter was settled quickly. Reports of border disputes between the Voxeri and Keldari territories seemed far more pressing than some unknown species on the galactic rim. The representatives moved on to the next agenda item. What none of them noticed was the final few seconds of Call's transmission, partially corrupted but still in the record. "Ignore us at your peril. We have seen their kind before. The similarities are unmistakable. They are coming, and nothing in this galaxy will stop them." In the central archive, those words were filed away with countless other warnings and prophecies, forgotten as the assembly went about its business. The observation team assignment was downgraded twice before being assigned to an automated probe system. 3 cycles later, when the first human exploration vessel appeared at the edge of Voxeri space, the assembly would remember Call's warning. By then, it would be too late to heed it. Captain Sora Nakamura stretched in the command chair of the Voxeri trading vessel Starlight Runner. The ship hummed peacefully as it moved through the quiet sector near the outer rim. This route was rarely used by other traders, which was exactly why Sora preferred it. Less traffic meant fewer inspections, fewer pirates, and better profits. "Captain, we're detecting an anomaly ahead," reported First Officer Thalo, her scales shifting to a concerned blue-green. "Unknown ship signature. It doesn't match any registered vessel in our database." Sora's head frills extended in surprise. "Show me." The main screen displayed a vessel unlike any Sora had seen in her 30 cycles of space travel. It was smaller than the Starlight Runner, with smooth lines and what appeared to be rotating sections. No obvious weapons were visible, but several dish-like structures suggested advanced sensors. "Are they moving toward us?" Sora asked, her frills now flat against her head in caution. "No, Captain. They appear to be holding position, almost as if they're waiting." The bridge crew fell silent. Unknown vessels usually meant trouble, pirates, smugglers, or worse, but this ship made no aggressive moves. "Scan for life signs," Sora ordered. Thello worked her console, then looked up in confusion. "Life signs detected, but they're strange. Carbon-based, oxygen-breathing, but the patterns don't match any known species." Sora considered her options. The trading company rules were clear: avoid unregistered contact, report to the nearest outpost, and continue on course. Breaking those rules could cost her captain's license, but curiosity had always been Sora's weakness. "Establish communication," she ordered. "Captain, regulations state," Thello began. "I know the regulations, First Officer. Establish communication." The screen flickered as the unknown ship accepted their signal. The image that appeared caused all 4 of Sora's arms to tense in surprise. The creature had no scales, no fur, no natural armor, just bare skin, except for patches of hair on the top of its head. Its eyes were forward-facing like a predator's, but they showed no signs of aggression. "This is Captain Michael Chen of the Earth vessel Pathfinder," the creature said. "We come in peace." The words were translated by the ship's computer, but they made little sense. Earth. No such planet was in the Galactic Registry. "I am Captain Sora of the Voxeri trading vessel Starlight Runner." Sora replied cautiously. "You are in Voxeri trading space. Identify your species and purpose." Captain Chen smiled, showing flat teeth unsuited for tearing flesh. "We are humans from the planet Earth. This is our first deep space exploration mission. We didn't realize this sector was claimed territory." Sora noticed something odd. The human's lips moved slightly out of sync with the translated words, yet somehow the translation was improving with each exchange. Their system was adapting to the Voxeri language patterns in real time. "How did you reach this sector? We have no record of your species." We developed faster-than-light travel recently, Captain Chen explained. This is our first contact with another intelligent species. We're very excited. The human's face displayed an expression Sora couldn't interpret. Was it fear? Anticipation? The lack of scales or frills made their emotions difficult to read. Would it be possible to meet in person? Chen asked. We have docking capabilities if you're willing. Every trading instinct told Sora to refuse. Unknown species meant unknown risks. Yet something about these humans intrigued her. We will prepare our shuttle bay, Sora decided. You may bring 3 representatives, unarmed. Hours later, Sora stood amazed as the human delegation not only learned basic Voxeri greeting phrases, but had begun picking up complex trading terminology. Their ability to mimic Voxeri speech sounds, despite having completely different vocal structures, was remarkable. Your ship's propulsion system is fascinating, said one human, a female named Dr. Sarah Okafor. The plasma containment design is similar to something we theorized, but never implemented. Sora noticed how quickly the humans absorbed new information, how carefully they observed everything without appearing threatening. They offered knowledge of their own world freely, yet asked pointed, intelligent questions about Voxeri technology. By the end of the meeting, Sora had agreed to a small trade of non-restricted goods and information exchange, something she'd never imagined doing with an unknown species. When the Starlight Runner reached the trading outpost at Nexus Station a week later, Sora immediately reported the encounter to the station commander, who forwarded it to Representative Malkuth. You actually traded with them. Malkuth's holographic image flickered with disapproval. Captain, that violates first contact protocols. Representative, these humans, they learn incredibly fast. They mastered basic Voxeri in hours. They adapted their technology to communicate with ours almost instantly. Malkuth waved a dismissive tentacle. All species can be friendly when they want something. Once they learn our technology, we'll see their true nature. With respect, Representative, I believe these humans could be valuable trading partners. They have unique perspectives on. Your report is noted, Captain Sora. Return to your regular routes. The Assembly will handle this matter. When the transmission ended, Sora felt uneasy. The humans had been curious, adaptable, and surprisingly insightful. Dismissing them seemed foolish. Unknown to both Sora and Representative Malkuth, a high-priority message from High Observer Call sat unread in the Assembly's communication system. Its warning label, URGNT, regarding human contact, was automatically filtered into the low-priority queue due to an administrative error. By the time anyone would notice it, 17 human ships would be exploring Voxeri space, and the first human ambassador would be preparing to address the Galactic Assembly. The Reckoning. General Vex slammed his armored fist on the war table, sending holographic star maps flickering. His scaled skin had darkened to a deep crimson with rage, a clear warning to the other Kildare officers to keep their distance. The humans have refused our territorial claims, he growled, sharp teeth gleaming in the command room's harsh light. They must be taught their place. His second in command, Commander Traz, studied the display showing New Horizon, a small human mining outpost that had unfortunately been established in what the Kildare had recently declared as their territory. They are newcomers to the galactic community, Traz suggested carefully. Perhaps they don't understand the consequences of defying the Empire. General Vex's laugh was cold. Then we shall educate them. Prepare the fleet. We will give these soft-skinned creatures their first lesson in galactic politics. The Kildare were feared throughout the quadrant. Their battle cruisers were heavily armored, their weapons technology superior to most species. Their warrior culture had produced the most disciplined military force known to the Galactic Assembly. 3 days later, 5 Kildare warships dropped out of hyperspace around New Horizon. The human outpost was small, a central habitat connected to mining structures extending into a mineral-rich asteroid. Scans showed fewer than 200 humans on the station, with only 2 small defense vessels. "Send the message," General Vex ordered. "Humans of New Horizon, this is General Vex of the Keldari Empire. You are trespassing in Keldari territory. Surrender your station and evacuate within 1 standard cycle, or we will take it by force." The response came quickly from a calm-voiced human woman identified as Director Elena Reyes. "General Vex, we have reviewed the galactic maps. New Horizon lies outside any registered territorial claims. We established this outpost in accordance with Galactic Assembly protocols." Vex's skin darkened further. "The borders of the Empire expand as we require. You were not here first. You are here at our pleasure. You have 1 cycle to evacuate. We respectfully decline," Director Rice replied simply. "We seek peaceful resolution through assembly mediation." General Vex cut the transmission. "Begin the attack. Target their defense vessels first, then communications. I want this finished before mid-meal." The first volley from the Keldari ships destroyed 1 human defense vessel immediately. The second managed to evade briefly before being crippled. Keldari gunners next targeted the station's communication array, expecting to see surrender signals moments later. Instead, mining drones suddenly activated, swarming toward the Keldari ships like insects. They were not weapons, simple maintenance and extraction units. But there were hundreds of them. "Destroy those annoyances," Vex ordered dismissively. But the mining drones proved surprisingly difficult to hit. They moved erratically, some exploding when shot, while others attached themselves to Keldari ships, cutting into hull plating with mining lasers. "What is this foolishness?" Vex demanded. "Burn them all." The Keldari ships adjusted tactics, using wide dispersal energy weapons to clear the drones. When they finally penetrated the station's outer defenses, they found the humans had converted internal blast doors into makeshift barriers. Mining explosives had been repurposed as traps. What should have been a simple, hour-long operation stretched into days. The humans used maintenance tunnels and air ducts to move around the station, ambushing Keldari boarding parties. They rerouted power systems in ways that confused Keldari scanners. By the end of the first week, General Vex was furious. How are these weak creatures still fighting? They have no military training. It appears many were military before becoming miners, Commander Traz reported. And they are adaptable. On the 10th day, as the Keldari prepared a final assault that would destroy much of the station, sensors detected multiple hyperspace signatures. Human reinforcements, the sensor officer reported with surprise. 7 vessels, military configuration. General Vex smiled coldly. Good. Now we can crush their pathetic fleet properly. But the human ships did not behave as expected. Rather than forming a defensive line, they scattered, attacking from multiple vectors simultaneously. 3 smaller vessels targeted a single Keldari cruiser, concentrating fire on one section of its shields until they collapsed, then disabled its engines. Another human ship launched what appeared to be mining pods, but modified with thrusters and explosives. They detonated against Keldari shield generators with precise timing. "They're not following any known battle formation," the tactical officer said, confusion evident in his voice. "Their attack pattern is, there is no pattern." After 3 hours of chaotic fighting, 2 Keldari ships were disabled, 1 was heavily damaged, and the remaining 2, including General Vex's flagship, were withdrawing. "This is a temporary setback," Vex hissed as the fleet jumped to hyperspace. "We will return with the full might of the Empire." The news of the Keldari defeat spread quickly through the Galactic Assembly. Many species secretly celebrated. The Keldari had been expanding aggressively for decades, but publicly, concern grew about a wider conflict. Then something unprecedented happened. A Trethian transport arrived at the Assembly headquarters. High Observer Call himself, ancient even by Trethian standards, had left the Watcher homeworld, the first to do so in generations. His appearance in the assembly chamber caused a sensation. His skin was nearly transparent with age, his movements slow but deliberate as he floated to the center of the room on a gravity platform. "You must stop this conflict before it escalates," he warned, his voice thin but commanding. "The humans fight differently. They don't follow patterns. They innovate under pressure." Representative Ziv fluffed her feathers dismissively. "One victory doesn't make them special. The Keldari will crush them eventually." "You do not understand," Call insisted. "I have studied the historical records. When threatened, humans unite. When challenged, they evolve their tactics with remarkable speed. The Keldari fight with honor and follow ancient traditions. Humans will try anything that works." The assembly chambers filled with murmurs. Call's words echoed those of his warning from years earlier. "What would you have us do?" First Speaker Neva asked. "Mediate. Establish boundaries. Integrate the humans into the existing order before conflict defines their relationship with the galaxy," Call replied. "Or watch as they redefine that order themselves." As the assembly debated, reports arrived of Keldari fleet movements. General Vex had not waited for diplomacy. The first major interstellar war involving humans was about to begin, with consequences no one, except perhaps the Trethians, could predict. The emergency session of the Galactic Assembly began with chaos. Representatives from 17 species spoke over each other as reports flooded in. The massive display in the center of the chamber showed real-time updates from the Keldari home system, where the unthinkable was happening. "Order. I will have order." First Speaker Neva's amplified voice finally cut through the noise. Her iridescent scales flashed with stress patterns as she stood at the central podium. "We will address this crisis properly. First, the tactical overview." The Chief of Galactic Intelligence, an Aruxi named Director Shale, stepped forward. Her 4 eyes blinked independently as she gestured to the display. "Approximately 14 hours ago, human warships appeared in the Keldari home system. 37 vessels in total." She paused, letting the information sink in. They did not use any known hyperspace routes. They emerged simultaneously from jump points that our scientists had calculated to be impossible to use. "How?" demanded one of the representatives. "Unknown. The jump points were theoretically too unstable for safe passage. The humans somehow stabilized them." The display showed the human fleet's formation around the Keldari homeworld. Unlike the chaotic tactics they had used in previous engagements, this was a perfect blockade formation. "Where did they get so many ships?" asked Representative Malkov, his tentacles moving agitatedly. "Their technology was basic just 1 cycle ago. How did they advance so quickly?" "That is the second most concerning aspect," Director Shell continued. "The human vessels appear to be using modified Keldari shield technology, but improved. They are absorbing energy from Keldari weapons and using it to power their own systems." The council chamber grew quiet. Weapons technology transfer was strictly regulated by ancient treaties. Adaptation of another species' military technology was almost unheard of. "Did the humans destroy the Keldari fleet?" asked a junior representative from the back. "No," Director Shell replied. "That's the third concerning element. They disabled the Keldari defense grid and orbital platforms with surgical precision. They established the blockade and then waited." "Waited for what?" Representative Ziv asked. "For this." The director played a recorded transmission. The image showed a human woman in a simple dark uniform. Her expression was serious, but not angry. "This is Admiral Maya Rodriguez of the United Earth Defense Force to the Keldari High Command. Your unprovoked attacks on human outposts and colonies have continued despite our attempts at diplomatic resolution. This ends today. We do not wish to destroy your civilization. We do not wish to occupy your worlds. We demand the immediate removal of General Vex from command, cessation of all hostilities, and Keldari participation in assembly-mediated peace talks. You have 6 hours to respond before we begin disabling your planetary defense systems. Choose wisely." The recording ended. The assembly erupted again. They can't threaten a founding member of the Assembly. How dare they make demands? We should deploy the Assembly peacekeeping fleet. High Observer Call, who had remained in the Assembly chamber since his arrival, slowly floated forward on his gravity platform. His presence immediately quieted the room. The ancient Trethian rarely spoke, but when he did, even the most powerful representatives listened. "You still do not understand what you are witnessing," Call said, his voice thin but clear. "This is not aggression. This is adaptation. They are threatening to attack a homeworld," Representative Malkuth protested. "How is this not aggression?" Call gestured weakly, and a Trethian assistant stepped forward with a data crystal. "With the Assembly's permission, I would like to share historical records from our archives." First Speaker Neva nodded, and the crystal was inserted into the chamber systems. The main display changed to show ancient text and images. Because they were attacked, they united, Call explained as the images showed human historical events. Because they were threatened, they innovated. In human history, their greatest achievements came during their darkest hours. The display showed humans transforming warships into rescue vessels, weapons factories into medical supply centers, soldiers into peacekeepers. The humans do not want war. They want security. They want recognition. Most of all, they want to be treated as equals. First Speaker Neva studied the data carefully. "What do you suggest, High Observer?" "Acknowledge them, integrate them, learn from them, or watch as they reshape the galaxy in ways you cannot predict." 3 days later, as the Galactic Assembly prepared to send its first official delegation to Earth, a message arrived from the Keldari Empire. General Vex had been removed from command. The Keldari agreed to peace talks. The age of humans had begun. They were not the strongest, not the oldest, not the most numerous. But they were, as the Trethians had warned, the most dangerous force the galaxy had ever seen, not because they sought conquest, but because they refused to be conquered. And this time, the warnings were not ignored.